Hi, my name is Michael Hudson Jr., and welcome to Mission Accomplished. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to build an intelligence dashboard here in Notion. This page will be a one stop shop, central hub for all of your note taking, information gathering, or any other intellectual pursuit you may have. I'm going to show you how to build this template out, the databases surrounding it, and at the end, there will be a link for you to duplicate this template into your own Notion workspace. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get started. All right, so the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a blank page in our Notion workspace, set it to full width, and the first step to building our intelligence dashboard is we're going to create a database. Uh, create an inline database and call it the information database. For all of your pages, your specialty pages within Notion, I want you to get into the habit of centralizing them or basing them around one key database that's going to be the filter and focal point for all of the information that's going to be contained on that page. In this case, our intelligence dashboard is built around our information database. It's not going to be the only one we have, but the primary point is this information database. What we're going to do next is we're going to go in our browser and we're going to start clipping information from the web and things like that into our database so that it starts to fill up with pages that we can then use. So we're going to go using the Notion Web Clipper tool, which is a Chrome extension. We're going to search for our information database right here, and we're going to save it. Let's see. Let's save. Make sure that one's selected. Save that. Pretty soon, when you start using the information database enough, the Notion Web Clipper will cache the information and you won't have to search for it or load it up every time. It'll just clip right then and there. All right. So now we've got our first pieces of information. And as you can see, it's already there, already clipped, but it's still raw. The next steps to building this database out as well as the dashboard is we need to think of some supporting properties that's going to help us organize, uh, code, and ultimately help retain the information that we put into our information database. So, what are some like supporting properties that you could think of that go with information? Well, we would start with, well, what type of information is it? Who published it? When was it published? A rating of it, notes contain, what topics does it cover, things like that. Brainstorming what really goes in. So our next step to building this database, to building this dashboard, is we're going to create some supporting databases to help organize our primary information database even more. Okay, welcome back. So we've just now added in our supporting databases for our primary information database. We've added a media type database that you can see here, which tells us what type of information is contained within. Is it a book? Is it a course, YouTube video, or something like an article that we pull from the web? We have our publisher database. So what exactly is the entity that published this particular information? Is it Viking, which is a well-known book publisher? Was it Udemy, which is a well-known course provider, or Next Level Life, which is a YouTube channel? Or is it the AP News, the Associated Press that published this article? From there, we can go even deeper. And now, well, who was the creator that published this piece of information or that published this book? So Robert Greene, a very well-known author in the self-improvement, human nature, psychology space, or was it Imran Afzal who published this IT course? You don't need to get too deep in the woods with the creator, but if this is someone that you really want to pay some special attention to, I suggest, you creating a database and then, linking the information or content that you get from them that's of value, and then you can store it in a database and query it for further use. From there, we go into the topics discussed within the information. So this is very important and key. You want to build a database for these types of items and not necessarily rely on comma separated values, which is like the select property within Notion. I think it's more helpful to use the database functionality because you can really add some stuff to the pages contained within your topic database and do a whole bunch of creative and educational things with that I'll show you later on this channel. But you can see here we've got some topics discussed in the 48 laws, such as power, self-improvement, human nature, seduction. When we get into the IT course, of course, we're talking about information technology. See, we have a YouTube video discussing the 11 stock market sectors. So, of course, we just put stocks hyphen stock market sectors. And then lastly, we have our online article that goes over the U.S. national debt. So, of course, you just added a page in the topic database discussing the U.S. national debt. Then lastly, we have our topic group. So we've covered the individual topics within the piece of information in our database. But now, what exactly was the group, the larger macro group does this pertain to? Does this piece of information pertain to? Does this pertain to something political, such as like the U.S. national debt, which is a very hot topic in politics and, decides votes and things like that? Or was this related to, business and finance, which the 48 laws as well as the stock market does? Or does our piece of information pertain to something that largely falls under technology, science, or education, which is what our IT course is? So you begin to see how building supporting databases around our primary database can really help us flesh out and build a central dashboard that can comprehensively contain many different points and units that help us overall retain and memorize what it is we're learning, is because it's helping us organize and categorize it. But we're still not done. Now that we've gotten our supporting databases, it's time for us now to begin adding our secondary properties to our information database, which we're going to do now. So now we're in one of the pieces of information that we clipped into our information database. Let's say we've read our article going over the U.S. national debt, went through it, highlighted some key sections and things like that. Now, even though we have our supporting databases, we're still not done with fleshing out this database to contain every unit of information that we need to memorize what we've learned and then query it for future use. So let's say after we've added the type of information contained, like for example, this was YouTube or a book, say this is an article. Now we've added a status property, which lets us know what stage or point of the information are we at. Have we not started this piece of information in our database, or is it in progress currently, or have we finished it? In this case, we just finished reading this article, so we set the status to completed. For the creator, you can put in the individual journalist that wrote the article. For me, I don't keep up with that much in my current events, but you're welcome to. But here, this is where very key. We've leveraged Notion AI to give us a short summary of the article contained within. So right after we finish reading, you can click this little one button right here and click update, and boom, it will give you a 1 sentence summary because we set it to custom autofill, and we just told it, hey, can you give me write a 1 sentence summary of this page? If, for example, we wanted, instead of it one sentence, we could say 3 sentences, write a 3 sentence summary of this page. We'll save the changes and we'll try it here. And boom, it can give us more in depth information than previously contained. So, really helpful way to use AI to save yourself a bit of work and maybe gather some more insights than you previously might have had after reading. So, this is a really cool property in Notion. After that, we have our rating. So, how good of an article or YouTube or whatever, how good was this? In this case, this was a 4-star article. It really learned some stuff about the national debt and possible implications it can have on the economy, things like that. So, this is a variation of the status property. Is instead of it being words, we've just put stars as the rating. But I like to personally use that in my Notion workspace. But you can use a select or multi-select property within Notion to do that. But it's up to you. Here we have 2 date properties. So we have one for the date published because we want to track that. Hey, how recent or how long ago was this information that we just read contained? And then when did we finish it? Like, hey, this was published on the 2nd. I read it on the 3rd. Helps us to remember when exactly, we're keep track of what we're consuming. You see the article clipped. When we clipped it, it left us a picture of the Treasury Department. So we decided to add another property, the files and media property, and save the image here. This is going to be super important when we turn the view of our database from a table into a gallery. We're going to leverage the files contained within our cover art property so that you can have like a good slideshow in array. Super important. And so these are the last of the secondary properties that we added. And you can see we've kind of changed the sequence of the supporting database properties that we added. So we got the publisher at the end, and we've customized the topic and topic group property to be minimalistic so they're not in the way of the top table here. I recommend using the minimal style of customizing the page. And if you don't know how to do that, you see right here, you can just click any property. It has to be a relation, and then you can change it, the display of it. You can set it to hide when empty, as a page section, things like that. I like to use the minimal property when I know I have a relation to a database and the database is going to have multiple values that are related into this article. So it's a good way to just get it out the way so it doesn't take up space and still be clean. So we've gone over what the primary database is going to be for our intelligence dashboard. We've also built the supporting databases that are going to feed into it. And we've created the secondary properties that'll help organize our information and the notes that we're going to be taking on it. So now all that's left is to build out the page aesthetics, the design that we want to have. This is going to be our interface for how we use the dashboard, how it's going to be displayed, things like that. Because right now, all we have is just a table and some database pages. So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to go to the top of the page. We're going to create 2 columns. We're going to create one call out box. And we're going to create a second one. We're going to drag this one over here. We're going to drag our table here. We're going to just give it that one. Then we're going to select all of these databases down here. We're going to drag them here in the second call out box. You know what? To make the page even cleaner, let's turn it to a page. Let's create a database page that'll be like a container for all of these, just 5 pages, so they don't have to be displayed on the main page of the intelligence dashboard. And we're going to start from the top, work down to the bottom, just dragging these one by one in. Oh. Let's put another container icon for this. We'll call it this. Let's create one more call out box. Idea just came to me. We'll use this. These is going to be like our portals. We're going to use the media type. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a link view of the media type database. You can see it's displayed as a list. It's a little small list. I want to hide the database table. Instead, I want this to be displayed as a gallery view. If you don't know, Notion has 6 different ways you can view your database. You can view it as a table, which is the way it's displayed on the right with our information database. We can use it as a board, which will display it as kind of like a vision board view, where the pages are kind of displayed on cards, grouped together by similar properties or one property, what have you. You can view it as a timeline view, which will show it kind of in like this weekly kind of or monthly kind of plan view, where this is really helpful to see blocking or blocked by relationships, or another way I like to use it as like predecessor successor relationships, where what page comes before and after each other. Very good for seeing dependencies. You have the calendar view, where your database is going to be organized and laid out in a calendar, and they're going to be grouped together by any date property that you choose within the database. In our case, if we wanted to create a calendar view of our information database, we would use the date, either the date published or the completed date view, or the completed date property. I'm sorry. We have the list view right here, or we can use a gallery where pages will be displayed kind of like this artistic style view, where this is how people create vision boards within Notion. I'm going to click the gallery view. I don't want to be creative with it. I don't want necessarily to be any card preview or things like that. Instead, I just want it to be none. So it still has this list interface format, but it's a bit more blocked out, has a more full feel with it. And then I'm just going to change the display. Boom. Right there. So now I got one over there. So I have the left side view. So these are going to be like a little headers or table of contents, if you will, on this side. Here, I'm going to change the table view into a gallery view. Again, this time I'm going to keep the artwork displayed. When you have either the gallery or the board view, you can also use card previews in these two. You have different options for how you want the page to be previewed or displayed, like what image will be loaded to have a preview of it. You can either use the cover, which will be at the top of a page after above the icon. You can use the content of the page itself. So if the page has a picture or some wording or summary you want to see, you can use that. Or remember that cover art, that files and media type property, where you can store files or media or images in a property itself in your database page. We're going to use that because, as you can see, for 2 of our pages, there's nothing in the page or in the content of it. So nothing's going to be displayed. You're going to have an empty white box. But when we change it to the cover art view, now every page has a preview, some symbol that we can attach to the page so we remember or know what it is that we're wanting to see. Taking this one step further, we can even display select properties within the gallery. So remember, our table view just kind of had everything. Now here we can display select views and have like a little card that'll have key information that we want to see. So for example, we would want to see what type of information is contained within. Maybe you want to see how we rated it. We can even see a little short summary. Like, what exactly is this about? We have the 48 Laws of Power, this book. What is the synopsis? Quick synopsis. Oh, it's right here. We can even change how it structures, how it flows. And then lastly, maybe we want to see the URL. So now we're beginning to flesh out our intelligence dashboard even more. We could actually run with this right now. This is live use. You could just keep clipping information in that I showed you in the beginning, and then you could just keep updating different properties within. Is this a course? Is this a book or a YouTube video we clipped? Notion AI will go ahead and summarize it automatically, so no work there. It's auto update. You can update it as much as you like. And YouTube, and then there we go. So this is kind of like a pre-final draft of what our intelligence dashboard would look like. And as we keep adding more information to our intelligence dashboard and the database contained within, we'll flesh it out even more, expand the page even more, so that we get a final look, a final draft of what our intelligence dashboard can come out to be. So now this is the final draft of our intelligence dashboard. Now that we've gotten the databases and supporting properties and all that, and we've essentially fleshed out the skeletal framework, now we have the full complete maturation of our page. We added a cover, which is like this archive of just books, this library, which kind of like just symbolizes information and knowledge. You see, we've created a custom icon for ourselves of a man with the thinking brain making all sorts of associations. We've added a quote. I like to personally put quotes into my specialty pages as a way to like kind of add meaning to the page and also guide its purpose and overall design. And as you can see, we've clipped way more stuff into the information database, all types of YouTube videos, articles, and books. We've even done some work in some of our media type pages where we've created certain portals for ourselves to really drill deep in on specific pieces of information. For example, let's go into the articles and web page. So in our articles and web page, we've essentially created a newspaper for ourselves. You can see here our gallery view. We have different articles we've clipped throughout the week or the month. And then on our left, we have some of our favorite newspapers and magazines and just publishers that we kind of frequently go to for updated events. So now this is your way of keeping track of current events going on in the world without necessarily having to rely on your Twitter feed or Facebook or just things like that. You're actively searching for things and then clipping it in, and you can store it, review it, take notes, and even come back to it. So when someone asks you, hey, how do you know this was going on? Or, hey, how do you know that? You can just go into your intelligence dashboard, go to the articles and web page and just search it up, and boom, you have it right there. Same with our book page. We've fleshed this media type page out, added a cover and icon, a quote, a familiar quote that I'm sure we've all heard about books, how they are the gift that keeps on giving. You see, we have a gallery list view of some of our favorite authors. So if we want to click in and see some of our favorite work from them, we can do that in our creator database. We've also created a library or bookshelf here in the middle of some of our favorite books that we may be either currently in the process of reading or have already read. And building on the intelligence dashboard and information database even more, we created a genre database because some of us like to really focus in on specific genres of books, such as young adult, maybe romance, mystery, or some of us like horror. Shout out to Stephen King. So as you can see, we've really taken each media type page even more to double down on specific types of information that we want to seek or gather within our intelligence dashboard to make it even more custom to our intellectual pursuits and needs. And this is it. This is our intelligence dashboard that you can start using right away. Very simple, very functional, and really like easy to create or keep adding on. You can add more movies, TV shows. Now that you've gotten really the baseline skeletal framework of how this dashboard is created and how it really functions as a system for you. If you want a link to this page, it'll be in the description box. You can just go there and then duplicate it to your own Notion workspace and get started with using this right away. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And also let me know of any other topics you'd like me to discuss in Notion. This video is going to be the first of many in a Notion series where we really can show you the full capabilities of the digital workspace that Notion is and how we can create all types of creative and cerebral tools to be used in business, your profession, your schooling, education, whatever you want. It's super duper flexible and creative once you really understand Notion's interface. So thank you again, and I will see you in the next video.